All right, so there's two arguments that I hear when this debacle kind of comes up in conversation, or at least in Twitter conversation. um,
Yeah,
is
yeah.
one is that, well, it makes sense because games are taking too long to come out, and these games are, like almost say, so these games are kind of they're taking too long. Games are becoming too big, and so there's less games overall. And you know what? I see that argument. I really do. I understand it. Uh, think about if you think about all the big games that are coming out. First of all, I love that there's a bunch of big games, and I've had whole hard conversations and arguments with you over like just these games that are coming out right now. They're amazing. They como se dice, the gaming industry isn't dying; it's booming. But
Hmm.
now that I'm looking at it from a console perspective, yeah, I mean, we're looking at maybe if you look back at like the Xbox 360 era, there was classic after classic, or PS3 era, whatever. It was classic after classic after classic. You would get like fucking 15 Game of the Years in a year. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
Now you don't get that. You get 1 to 2 really good fucking Game of the Year games, maybe 5 at the most. Uh,
Yeah,
and so now I'm seeing their point is that at the end of the day, you're not getting these fucking industry breaking games anymore. Not as
yeah,
often anyway. And so I see that argument, but I also think como se dice, the biggest reason why this is happening is the point that we were talking about before, that people couldn't buy it for 2 years. There was this nice quote that I saw on Twitter where como se dice, he basically said something along the lines of the como se dice, a PS5 has spent a quarter of its life cycle on a scalper's in a scalper's attic. You know what
yep,
I mean? So
yeah.
yeah, when you put it like that, it's like, dude, that just makes sense. Distribution got fucked by the pandemic big time.
Oh,
So
for sure, yeah.
yeah, it was just really inopportune timing, and I understand their move. Uh, but let's just hope that it's worth it. Let's hope that this PS6 era comes around and they do it correctly. And I just hope
Yeah.
we get more games. And I want some PS4 exclusives that are going to remain PS4 exclusives. Okay, please,
Hmm.
because I hate
Yeah.
buying a
And
fucking
that,
PS5 exclusive, right? And like God of War Ragnarok, I'm gonna buy it on PS5, but I know it's gonna come to PC, and so I'm gonna have to buy it again. Yeah, that's it. Oh
yeah, the
man.
whole thing. And you were talking about like the gaming industry as a whole. I think
Mhm.
something that I'm surprised I haven't seen anybody point out is that the film industry and the game industry are very much in the same position where, with movies, every movie that comes out has to be a big blockbuster or it's an indie movie, and there's
Mhm.
there's rarely an in between like a mid-budget movie. And then with video games, it all has to be AAA games or indie games. We don't really get those experimental, mid-budget games that we used to get all the time in like the PS2, PS3 era.
Very true.
I mean, because like look at what's a good example of like a mid-budget game?
Oh, you look at the Sly Cooper games back in PS2 era, and one, they were experimental. Two, they were cartoony. But also, you look at you look at the crew behind it. It was so much smaller back then, but they were able
Hmm.
to churn out these games damn near once a year. If not, it was one every 2 years. Another
Yeah,
good example of like mid-budget gaming. Well, you can think of the Jack and Daxter series. You can think of the Crash Bandicoot series. It's like these aren't blockbuster games, but there's a bunch of them coming out. Because they were able to do those Ratchet and Clank. You know, so that I think from the
yeah.
PS2 era, that's probably those games. Now, what about the PS3 era?
The PS3 era, my mind immediately kind of went to, even though maybe it is a AAA game,
I
but
say
my
Crisis.
brain thought of my brain thought of Infamous.
Yeah, Infamous. Yeah, Infamous. Absolutely, made by the same
Yeah,
guys as Sly Cooper,
or
Sucker Punch. You know,
yeah, or even Prototype. You
Prototype.
have like these development studios that they're not massive and they're not small either, but they're just trying new things. They're being experimental with it, and that experimentation allows for more player freedom, and those games become so memorable because of how fun they are and how experimental they are. And then now it feels like every game has to be AAA and they're super safe and they're all kind of samey because e- every studio just wants to follow the formula of like what makes money.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we have so many battle royale games, and it's like it gets
Jesus.
tiring because it's like there's nothing new to play because every game is the same.
Yeah, I mean, as a guy who loves single solo narratives, you know what I mean? If we're talking about new games that are coming out, I'm only getting like 4 or 5 a year. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I'm
exactly.
not
Yeah.
big for PvP, Call of Duty, shoot 'em up. You know, like I love the storylines for those games, and I did have some fun in the past, but I'm not. It's not really my cup of tea. My cup of tea is como se dice, storyline, a single player experience, tailored. You know what I mean? Really, really in depth
Mhm.
with detail, kind of thing, like a Resident Evil 7, survival horror. I love that shit. You go into a God of War, you know, and that's really good narrative as well. A single player experience is where I am. That's what I respond to, and so you don't get
Mhm.
you don't get as much of that as you do now, where it's as you do crazy PvP. You know, big online
Yeah.
MMOs. Those are pumped out all the fucking time. You know, it's ridiculous. So yeah, I'm not. I'm just not. I'm just not that kind of gamer.
Yeah, I mean, multiplayer games are just more profitable as a whole because
Yeah.
like you can continuously update them. You have battle passes, microtransactions, DLCs, expansions,
Yeah.
and it's something that you can continuously make money off of because people will keep coming back to play it. Whereas a single player game is like it's a one and done, you know?
Yeah.
Unless you have something that's like The Last of Us that's like so good that I go back and replay it all the fucking time.
Right.
But I feel like that's rare now. A lot of times I would finish a game and I'm done with it.
Well,
I wouldn't really have an itch to go back.
with me, with that specific narrative, people will probably say, "Oh, why not just do little expanded expansion packs like DLCs and do like a bit more story here and there." That's cool, but at the end of the day, it's nowhere near as profitable as microtransactions in a multiplayer game. It's just
Mhm,
not, and there's a lot more work put into those things. Now, como se, I think that there's definitely a lot of replayability and a lot of solo narratives, especially for me. I mean,
mhm,
I played Resident Evil 7 again and again. You know, como se, a lot of other games, just great.
yeah,
Como se, great attention to detail, and I don't mind replaying those games. It's just that at the end of the day, when we go back and replay those games, there's no more money going into the company's pocket, no matter how many times we replay it. So
yep,
yeah, como se, if you look at it from a business perspective, yes, those big multiplayer games, the sports the annual release games, they make more money because of their in-app purchases or in-game
yeah,
purchases. So yeah, it sucks that we're getting less and less solo narratives, but
mhm,
overall, man, I just como se, I like to think that I'm just not seeing enough, and that there's a lot more out there that I just have not experienced yet. So if you guys have any
mhm,
recommendations, I'm being honest. If you guys have any recommendations, please put them down in the comments. Whether they're indie, big
yeah,
budget, anything that I haven't talked about before, and if it's good, I'll put Sweeto on it. Yeah, that's
yeah.
it. So. Uh,
And if any developers are listening to this is not an invitation to put microtransactions in single player games to
For
make
the
more
love
money
of
off of.
fuck, do not do that. Shadow of fucking Mordor did that shit, and we shit all over that. Shadow of War, sorry, did that
Yeah,
shit, and we shit all over that. Okay, do not do it, please. All right, it's
yeah.
ridiculous.
And Assassin's Creed
Yeah,
doing
oh
that
yeah,
shit too.
chingado. Oh, don't fucking start. You can buy in-game currency to get a jump start. Bitch, how about putting normal progression in, all right? How about putting
Yeah,
an easy duplication glitch? Okay, how about that? Fuck you. You know?
yeah.
God damn it. It's so dumb, you know what I mean?
Hmm.
It's just I don't ever want to see dumb little fucking microtransactions that go directly towards progression. If you're talking about customizable skins, maybe, but even then it's egregious, all right? Because when I play a game, and I expect a lot of content right now. If I'm playing a game and there's so much content and it's endless, and then oh my god, there's a few extra things. Sure, I'll buy it. Why not? Because I
Hmm.
love this game. But you have to earn that purchase. You can't just throw a fucking advertisement up as soon as I launch the game. Madden. So, okay? So, as far as I'm concerned, fuck off with your microtransactions eternally. If you want to earn my money, bitch, then you need to actually earn it. You want to know a good example of earning my money? Resident Evil 7, again, with its DLC, the banned footage, the end of Zoe, those paid DLCs are premium, brother. They're awesome, and they're gonna say, so they're good as solo experiences, and they're good supplemental-wise, okay? If you want to earn my purchase, motherfucker, earn my purchase. That's it. Don't just say, oh,
Hmm.
get a little jump start, get some extra currency. Fuck off. I will never pay for that bullshit. That's it. Now, if your game's a little free-to-play game, like Clash of Clans, I might drop a little 99 cent.
That's different.
Little
Yeah.
$2.99. But a paid $70 game, bitch.
Yeah, that's unforgivable. That
I
is
agree.
unforgivable.
I
And
agree.
there are examples of great single player DLCs out there. I mean, look, I always think of like the Witcher 3
Mm,
Blood and Wine expansion,
he's got
because
it.
the Blood and Wine expansion is a whole new open world game with like a new story. It's basically Witcher 4. They gave you the Witcher 4 for $40. That's
Yeah.
essentially what the Blood and Wine DLC is. And then games like Batman Arkham Knight has a shit ton of DLC, and they're all good. It goes from skins to extra story stuff where
Mm,
you play as other characters, side missions in the actual like single player campaign. Great shit, lots of cool shit that they have for Arkham Knight. And then most recently you got Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty DLC, which
mm.
is a whole new story mode for that fucking game, and it looks great. I haven't played it yet myself, but from what I've seen and heard about Phantom Liberty, it's fucking cool, and it adds a whole new ending to like the main game, so that's cool as fuck.
You want to talk about amazing? I agree with you. Like, I'm gonna say, so when they make paid DLC that's actually worth a damn, it's the best feeling. I think a perfect example of this is Fallout New Vegas with its Lonesome Hearts and it's como say so whether it's whatever the fuck it is, Old World Blues. There's 4 different DLCs with all with different maps, different missions, everything, and it's just. It's
Yeah.
just so fucking mind blowing how much detail is put into these DLCs, and they're like $5 a pop. You know what I mean? Like, they
Yeah.
really earn that fucking money. I'll tell you that right now. They earn it. So I'll buy it once. I'll buy it again. I want to support the people that put money, put so much effort into their fucking DLC. One more point about Resident Evil 7. I'm going to stop talking about it. You know what's a better way for you to earn my money? Give me free DLC. Chris Redfield's Not a Hero DLC at the end of Resident Evil 7 was completely free, and it was like another 3-hour story where you're running around with machine guns killing monsters in first person. Basically a big power trip that Resident Evil 7 only gave you in small bursts. So when you give me free DLC on top of the paid stuff already, brother, you've earned my money. You take it, please. You know? So as far as I'm concerned, man, when I look at bullshit microtransactions in single-player games, in fact, when I look at bullshit microtransactions in a $70 full-price game, motherfucker, you better come correct. It better be one of the best games I've ever played ever before I see another price tag, and that's the truth. So that's all I have to say about that.
That's all I have to say about that. All right, Forrest Gump.
That's what I say. That's legit from Forrest Gump. You get it.